The mist in Redwood National Park thickened, transforming the drizzle into a shimmering veil that draped over the massive trunks.
Alara noticed the raindrops weren't just falling, they were vibrating with a faint melodic hum that echoed through the valley. From the shadows of the ferns, a giant silver fox emerged, its fur glistening with moisture, like 1,000 tiny diamonds.
The fox, known as Salin, bowed its head, gesturing for Ilara and Kael to follow him toward the base of the great monarch tree.
As they approached, the bark of the great monarch began to ripple, revealing a hidden spiral staircase carved into the wood by time itself. The climb began, each step taking them higher into the clouds, where the air felt thick with the scent of ancient resin and rain. Halfway up, they encountered a colony of giant luminescent snails, their shells glowing with a soft, pulsing azure light.
Salin whispered that these snails were the keepers of the forest's memories, their trails marking the history of the Canopy.
Suddenly, a gust of wind brought the sound of a deep, mournful song from the very top of the forest roof. They reached a massive platform made of woven living branches where a giant elder owl perched, its wings spanning 20 feet.
The owl, Hesperos, spoke in a voice that sounded like grinding stones, warning of a shadow creeping through the upper leaves. A strange, dark lichen was spreading across the canopy, turning the vibrant green needles into brittle black dust.
Kael touched the blight, and a jolt of cold energy shot through him, showing him a vision of a sunless world. To stop the rot, they needed to find the heart of the canopy, a crystal hidden in the highest nest of the wind striders. Salin leaped across a gap between two giant trees, his silver fur trailing light like a comet in the dark afternoon.
Alara used a rope of enchanted vine to swing across, the wind whistling past her ears as she looked down at the misty abyss.
They entered the realm of the wind striders, giant dragonflies with translucent wings that shimmered like oil on water.
The wind striders were agitated, their buzzing creating a resonance that shook the very branches they stood upon.
Alara hummed the melody she heard in the rain, calming the creatures with the song of their own home.
The largest dragonfly, the queen of wings, lowered her head and allowed Alara to take the heart of the canopy. But as they grabbed the crystal, the shadow lichen lunged forward, forming a physical entity, a wraith of rot.
The wraith shrieked, a sound that cracked the silence of the national park, causing birds for miles to take flight.
Salin the fox lunged at the wraith, his silver fur clashing against the darkness in a burst of light.
Kael held his torch high, the flame turning blue in the presence of the corrupted magic.
Alara realized the heart of the canopy wasn't a weapon, but a seed that needed the rain to activate. She held the crystal up to the sky, letting the drizzle wash over its multifaceted surface.
The crystal pulsed, sending out a wave of emerald light that dissolved the black lichen wherever it touched.
The wraith of rot dissolved into harmless mist, its dark power broken by the purity of the forest's life force.
As the light faded, the canopy looked rejuvenated, the green needles glowing with a health they hadn't seen in centuries. Hesperos the owl landed beside them, his eyes filled with a new respect for the small humans.
He explained that the whispers they heard were the ancestors of the trees thanking them for saving the Sky Garden.
Salin the fox curled up on the platform, his silver fur now warm and dry, inviting the heroes to rest.
From their high vantage point, they could see the entire Redwood National Park glowing under the moonlight.
Giant elk moved through the valleys below, their antlers looking like candelabras in the dark. The rain stopped, leaving behind a silence that was thick with magic and the promise of a new dawn. Alara noticed a small sprout growing where the crystal had been. A new great monarch was beginning its journey. They realized their journey in the redwoods was far from over. The canopy was only the first of the 7 layers.
The forest began to hum a new song, a march of hope that resonated in their very bones. As the sun began to peek over the horizon, the giant animals of the park let out a collective roar of triumph. With the ancient canopy restored, the whispers turned into a clear guide, pointing them toward the deep roots.